MAS*H wasn't just a television show. It felt like a family. And when someone from that family is gone, it's incredibly painful. Millions of people knew Alda and Loretta Swit as Hawkeye Pierce and Margaret Hot Lips Houlihan. Their on-screen chemistry made them one of TV's most unforgettable pairs. But their connection went far beyond acting. Behind the scenes, they had a deep and lasting friendship. Alda rarely spoke about that private bond, but after Loretta Swit's passing, he finally opened up and shared the memories he had kept to himself for years. Loretta Swit passed away on May 30, 2025, in her New York City home at the age of 87. Her publicist, Harlan Boll, confirmed that she died peacefully around noon from natural causes. The news spread quickly, showing how deeply people cared for her, not just as a famous actress but as someone who felt like a part of their lives. While most people knew her from her powerful role on MASH*, Swit's career went beyond that. She was a successful stage and TV actress and a strong voice for animal rights. She became a vegetarian early on and switched to a vegan lifestyle in 1981. Even in her final days, she remained active, sharing messages online. Just days before her death, she posted a touching Memorial Day tribute and sent birthday wishes to co-star Gary Berghoff, calling him Radar and saying, Happy birthday, Gary. Love your taunts," with sweet old photos from the show. Her connection with her castmates never faded, even decades after the show ended. In a 2022 interview marking MASH's 50th anniversary, Swit said they still met often and didn't just see each other as old co-workers. They were truly family. She recalled how exciting it was on their very first day together, and how that connection stayed strong through the years. She also celebrated milestones with the MASH* community. On the 42nd anniversary of the show's finale, she posted online, wondering how time passed so quickly. "Where does the time go?" she asked, adding, "Here's to you, the global MAS*H family. Thank you from the bottom of my sweetheart." After her passing, it became clear that the love between the cast wasn't just for the screen. It was real and lasting. Alda, now 89, shared a heartfelt tribute after her death. He wrote a message on social media, calling Swit a supremely talented actor, and saying she deserved every bit of recognition, including her 10 Emmy nominations and 2 wins. But Alda didn't just praise her acting. He talked about how much she shaped her role and how important her work was to the heart of the show. Swit was one of only 4 main actors who stayed from the first to the last episode, along with Alda, Jamie Farr, and William Christopher. Alda explained that Swit helped change the way Margaret's character was written. When the show first started, Margaret was often shown as a strict, cold, one-joke character. But Swit worked hard to give her more depth. She didn't just act. She influenced the writers. She encouraged them to show Margaret as a real person with feelings, strength, and ambition. Alda remembered a special moment when a script finally referred to her character as Margaret, instead of Hot Lips. That small change was a big victory for them. It proved that her efforts had paid off. Swit and Alda's characters always had a complicated on-screen relationship. Fans wondered if they might ever become a couple, but they remained close friends instead. Off-screen, Alda and Swit had a deep, supportive bond built over years of working together and shaping the emotional direction of the show. Her sudden death was a shock to fans and her MASH* family. Just a few days before, she was still active online. Fellow cast member Jamie Farr called her his adopted sister and said he would miss her dearly. Mike Farrell, who played BJ Honeycutt, simply posted a quiet photo of her with the caption, Loretta 1937 to 2025. Fans poured out their feelings, and one message stood out. A nurse told Alda that the show had inspired her to become a nurse herself and taught her that showing emotion with patients was okay. That one message proved how much impact MASH* had, and how Swit and Alda had helped make that possible. Swit's legacy lives on not just because of her role, but because of how she changed it. When she first started as Margaret Hot Lips Houlihan, the character was very basic and was often the target of jokes. But Swit didn't accept that. She wanted Margaret to be more real, more human. She told the writers she wanted to make the character smarter and more serious, even if it meant fewer jokes. Swit disliked the nickname, Hot Lips. She thought it made Margaret seem less important and reduced her to a silly label. She worked hard to get rid of that name, and by the final seasons, most characters just called her Margaret. That change showed how far the character had come. One important moment came in the episode, The Nurses, when Margaret admitted she felt lonely and unseen. It was a powerful scene where she asked, "Has anybody ever offered me a lousy cup of coffee?" That moment showed her vulnerability and helped her connect more with the other women on the show. Swit later said that was the episode that really changed her character. Another key moment came in the two-part episode, Comrades in Arms, when Hawkeye and Margaret were stuck behind enemy lines. They had to rely on each other, and their closeness led to a brief romance. Although they didn't stay together, that experience changed their relationship forever. From then on, they shared real respect and care. By the end of the show, Margaret was no longer a background character. She was one of the strongest and most complex women on TV. Swit won 2 Emmy Awards for her performance, and her character's journey reflected the growing feminist movement of the time. She showed that women on television could be strong, emotional, flawed, and real. The final episode of MASH * featured a kiss between Hawkeye and Margaret. It lasted just 35 seconds but was unforgettable. Over 100 million people watched that episode, and the kiss felt like a thank you to fans who had followed their story for years. It wasn't the beginning of a romance. It was a perfect, emotional farewell. Swit later explained that Hawkeye and Margaret didn't need to be a couple. Their love was real, but it was built on friendship, respect, and shared trauma, not romance. She said their bond was more meaningful that way, especially during war, when true friendship and trust can mean more than anything else. Their deep connection was also reflected off-screen. Alda praised Swit for how hard she worked to improve her role. Swit saw the cast as her family, and that feeling was mutual. During a serious scene in The Nurses, Swit broke down after filming, not as her character, but as herself, showing just how deeply connected she was to the story and to her fellow actors. Loretta Swit left behind more than a memorable TV role. She left a legacy of courage, honesty, and transformation. She helped reshape how women could be portrayed on television, and she did it with heart, intelligence, and determination. She turned Margaret from a simple joke into someone who inspired people. And because of that, her spirit and impact will live on forever. The room became completely silent. No one spoke or moved. Then, Alda quietly walked over and gave her a hug. That simple, silent hug said more than any words could. It wasn't about acting anymore. It was about showing care and support. Maybe that's why the connection between Hawkeye and Margaret felt so real, because it truly was. Their relationship wasn't just part of a script. It felt authentic. That honesty made their story unforgettable. It wasn't a fantasy or perfect romance. It was something more honest, something deeply human. That kind of realness is hard to find on television. Loretta Swit will always be best known for playing Major Margaret Houlihan on MASH, but her career didn't end when the show did. After MASH wrapped up, she continued acting in both television and movies. She starred in heartwarming and dramatic TV films like The Best Christmas Pageant Ever and The Execution. She also guest-starred on popular series like The Love Boat and Diagnosis Murder. On the big screen, she appeared in movies such as Beer and Forest Warrior. In addition to her screen work, Swit was very active in theater. She made her Broadway debut in 1975 in the play Same Time, Next Year, and later returned to Broadway in The Mystery of Edwin Drood. She also performed in touring plays like Mame and starred in her own one-woman show, Shirley Valentine, which she performed for years in different cities. Even though she kept working, Swit had to deal with being typecast because her role on MASH was so well known. She was originally offered the lead role in the series Cagney and Lacey after doing the pilot in 1981, but she couldn't accept it due to her contract with MASH. Later, she chose not to take on another long-term TV role. Instead, she picked one-time roles and game show appearances because she didn't want to be locked into one character again. One of the most meaningful parts of Loretta Swit's life has been her dedication to animal rights. She has been a strong, outspoken supporter of animals. She once said, "Animals are my friends, not my food," and has been a committed vegan since 1981. She used her fame to encourage people to adopt pets rather than buy them and raised awareness about the importance of spaying and neutering. She spoke out against puppy mills, calling them a blight on our society. She also took real action, signing a public letter to President Reagan asking for rescued lab monkeys, the Silver Spring 9, to be moved to safe places. She even started her own charity, the Sweetheart Animal Alliance, which helps reunite dogs from Afghanistan with their military handlers and matches homeless animals with veterans. Her love for animals and her artistic side came together in her 2017 book, Sweetheart: The Watercolor Artistry and Animal Activism of Loretta Swit. It featured her animal paintings, and all the money from the book was donated to her charity. In interviews, Swit was open about her choices. In 1979, she said she always wanted to be an actress and that her love of movies came from her mother. She also said she never wanted marriage or children. She explained that she had her career, her friends, and her passions, and didn't want extra responsibilities. She credited Alda with helping her feel at peace with that decision, saying he helped her not feel guilty for not wanting a traditional family. Later, she did get married in 1983 to actor Dennis Houlihan, whom she met on the set of MASH, but they divorced in 1995 and didn't have children. Loretta Swit's life has been full of independence, dedication to her craft, and deep compassion. But she wasn't the only one from MASH to leave a lasting impact. Her closest co-star, Alda, also created a powerful legacy, one shaped by kindness, intelligence, and humor. Alda, whose birth name is Alfonso Joseph d'Abruzzo, had an impressive career long before and after playing Hawkeye Pierce on MASH. In the 1950s, he developed his skills in comedy by performing with groups like the Compass Players and Second City. He made his Broadway debut in 1961 in Purlie Victorious and was nominated for a Tony Award in 1966 for the musical The Apple Tree. He also appeared in films like Paper Lion, 1968, and The Mephisto Waltz, 1971. And was part of a political satire TV show called That Was the Week That Was. Alda's real-life experience in the army also shaped how he viewed war. After college, he served for 6 months in Korea, running a mess tent. Even though he wasn't in combat, he saw how war affected soldiers, how some sat silently or played with their food, clearly traumatized. That experience helped him push for MASH to show war as it really is, painful and damaging. He didn't want the show to be just silly fun about life at the front lines. He wanted people to feel the truth of what war does to people. That became a big part of why the show had such emotional depth. Alda became a major creative influence on MASH. He wrote 19 episodes and directed 32, including the famous final episode, Goodbye, Farewell and Amen, which broke viewership records. He was the only person to win Emmy Awards for acting, writing, and directing on the same series. Under his guidance, MASH evolved from a traditional comedy into a show that addressed political and social issues. He helped develop many of the characters, including Margaret, Charles, Father Mulcahy, and Klinger, and even fought to keep actor William Christopher, Father Mulcahy, on the show. His ability to improvise helped give the show a real, spontaneous feeling. For example, in his first scene as Hawkeye, he unexpectedly hugged a nurse to get into character, setting the tone for his natural and heartfelt performance. After MASH, Alda continued acting, writing, and directing. He worked on movies like The Four Seasons, 1981, Sweet Liberty, 1986, and Betsy's Wedding, 1990. He earned an Oscar nomination for The Aviator, 2004, and appeared in films like Crimes and Misdemeanors, 1989, Bridge of Spies, 2015, and Marriage Story, 2019. On TV, he won another Emmy for playing Senator Arnold Vinnick on The West Wing and appeared on shows like 30 Rock and Ray Donovan. Outside of acting, Alda also made a huge impact in the world of science. For 14 years, he hosted Scientific American Frontiers, a PBS show that made science accessible. In 2009, he helped create the Alda Center for Communicating Science at Stony Brook University. There, he teaches scientists how to speak clearly to the public using improv theater techniques. In 2018, Alda revealed he had Parkinson's disease, which he had been living with since 2015. Even with the challenges, he remains positive. He said he's always finding new ways to do things and sees the effort to manage his condition like a fun puzzle. His attitude shows just how inspiring he is, not just as an actor, but as a person. It's hard to think about Alan Alda and Loretta Swit without remembering the show that brought them together. MASH, which ran from 1972 to 1983, was a game-changing series that combined humor with serious stories about the realities of war. It made people laugh, but it also made them think and feel. Though it was set during the Korean War, its messages reflected the time of the Vietnam War, dealing with real issues like PTSD, racism, sexism, and the emotional damage caused by violence. MASH helped pave the way for other shows that mix comedy and drama, such as Murphy Brown, Scrubs, Designing Women, and Hill Street Blues. It showed that a TV show could be funny and still talk about real, difficult topics. But the show's success wasn't without problems. Some actors like Wayne Rogers, Trapper John, and McLean Stevenson, Henry Blake, left early because they felt they were being overshadowed by Alda's rising influence. Despite that, the show adapted and grew stronger. Its rotating cast even reflected the chaos and change that happened during real wartime. Then came the final episode, Goodbye, Farewell and Amen, which aired in 1983. It drew an incredible 106 million viewers, making it one of the most watched episodes in television history. Please share your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to give it a like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for watching.